Alright, so I came out here today because I wanted to make my final, I guess you could say, assessment, or just my opinion about the GH5 in 2024. I bought one recently. I'm shooting on it right now as a backup to my S5. Now, I love my Panasonic S5. I got no issues with it at all. But I just felt like I needed a backup. I'm starting to take jobs from other people, and I just got a little paranoid because I dropped the camera. Well, I didn't drop the camera, but the camera went flying off a tripod one day in a windstorm, and it just occurred to me, like, I better have a backup, if I'm working for somebody else. So anyway, I'm shooting with the Panasonic GH5 right now. I'm using a 17mm lens, f1.4 TT Artisans, which is the equivalent of 34mm. But I just did a video on this. It's not really the equivalent because it's really a 17mm lens. So the way I look is the way a 17mm lens is gonna, show the way I look. But it's a 34mm perspective in terms of what you can see around me and how far away from the camera I need to be and stuff like that. But it's still a 17mm lens. And that's really one of the biggest problems I have with Micro Four Thirds, I think, is all the math you have to figure out, but it's not really so much the math. It's more, like what happened was I was shooting one day. I was using a 35mm lens that I have, a Mikey 35mm. And I was looking at it and I was like, it's a 70mm equivalent, but I don't look like I'm being shot on a 70mm lens. Like, the compression doesn't feel the same to me. The background behind me didn't look as close as I thought it would look. I just didn't look the same as what I'm used to using 70. Like, I have a 28-70 f2.8 from my S5 full frame lens, so I know what 70mm looks like. I know what I look like being shot in 70. I looked like I was being shot with a 35mm lens, and then I realized that's because I was, it just didn't look right to me. So yeah, the distance from the camera, getting the framing together, all that kind of stuff was fine, but it didn't look like a 70mm lens, even though it's a 70mm equivalent. So you see what I'm saying, right? It's not the same thing. And if you're into the nuance of lenses, and if you're into the nuance of focal length and what that actually looks like, that's something you just have to pay attention to. Otherwise, the GH5 is amazing. I mean, it's an amazing camera. I got it for $467 on eBay, and it's in mint condition. It's fine. It's got things that the S5 doesn't even have. It's got a full-size HDMI. It's got all eye options. It's got like tons of 4K options. It's got unlimited recording in any format, which the S5 doesn't have. You could shoot straight 24 frames per second, so if you plan on doing DCP for a theatrical release, you could do that without any controversy. I love it. It's a great camera. The only thing I'll say that's a little behind the S5 is it definitely doesn't have the same dynamic range when you're shooting in Vlog L, whatever the L stands for. I notice when I'm in really challenging situations, it doesn't work as well as the S5 with skin tones, at least with my skin tone. It just makes things really red. And no matter what I do in DaVinci Resolve, it just doesn't respond the same way as the S5. I mean, the S5 is unbelievable. Like, the dynamic range is incredible. I can make corrections, or I can grade things any way that I want in the S5. It's really kind of remarkable. The GH5, not so much, not as much. And actually, I'm shooting in the standard profile right now just because I wanted to see what it looked like, because I only shoot in log. But I think maybe with this camera, in most circumstances, it might be better. A lot of people like to shoot in Cine like V or Cine like D with this camera. I like the way the standard profile looks, so I think that might be the better way to go with this camera. Oh, now it's starting to rain. So anyway, otherwise, I think the GH5 is a great camera, definitely capable in 2024. And so if you're strapped for money and you want something that shoots 4K, all eye, cinema 4K, great dynamic range, incredible lens options, things like that, as long as you keep the focal length thing in your mind, if you're really interested in that kind of stuff. I highly recommend it. I think it's an incredible camera. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I think I'm going to put it on the shelf now because the S5 is just better for me. I'm used to it. I like it better. And now it's starting to rain, so I'm going to get out of here. But I'm going to put this on the shelf. It's going to be my backup. I'll use it as a second camera sometimes. Thanks for watching. It's starting to rain hard. And I'll see you next time. GH5 2024. Cool. But I'm still using the S5. Peace.